Donald Trump is inheriting one of the best economies that a president has inherited in a very long period of time. If you look at the fact that something like net migration at the border is lower than it was even before Donald Trump took office.
What?
If you want to look at the stock market, you're looking at the stock market right now.
I'm not even finished running it down yet.
This is the first time.
This guy's crazy.
The border needs to be secured further, and this number can be accurate.
But this is the first time.
What?
This is the first time in dozens.
Bro, is this 2-on-1? Like, is this how all Republicans? Is this how it's gonna be forever? Is the Republicans gonna just be outnumbered in the media every single time?
Why do they choose to do this? This is why the mainstream media is losing their audience.
This is crazy.
We just watched the American people vote en masse on these two issues, just for them to turn around and say, "Well, these two issues are under control." What?
I can throw a rock and hit an illegal immigrant.
Oh my gosh.
I could be an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, America, the economy is so, and immigration is so under control. Like, if that was a fact, Kamala Harris would be the president of the United States. Given the fact that she was running on the strength of the economy and immigration, and she lost.
The peaceful transfer of power is one of the most fundamental principles of American democracy. As much as any other principle, it is what distinguishes our system of government from monarchy or tyranny. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election. This duty is a sacred obligation, one I will uphold, guided by love of country, loyalty to our Constitution, and my unwavering faith in the American people.
Today, Congress is certifying the 2024 election results in the major step that paves the way for the president-elect Donald Trump to return to the White House. And Justice Department officials are taking stock of the now failed effort to prosecute Donald Trump for obstructing the same official process 4 years ago today. With a final report on the investigation expected to be released soon, critics are starting to point the finger in a lot of directions, including at Attorney General Merrick Garland and decisions he made after the insurrection and about the investigation. Let's get over to CNN's Evan Perez. He's got more on this exclusive report. Tell us what you've learned.
Well, Kate, you know, what critics would call the lost year inside the Justice Department, they say it was something that they had to do. They had to spend a lot of time looking into every single possible corner to see whether there was more evidence to tie Donald Trump to the violence we saw that day. One of the things they did find was there was this tip that developed in about June of 2021 that seemed to indicate that there was some kind of meeting between Trump or someone very close to him and members of the Proud Boys. These are the people who were behind some of the worst violence on January 6th. And so they spent months.
But why don't they ever use the video when Trump was talking to the people in the crowd?
Because it don't fit their narrative. You already
Why?
know that.
I know, I'm just saying, though, like, he literally talked to them. So that's to be proof right there.
On January 6th.
He was.
He was at a different stage.
He spoke and they walked over to the Capitol.
Bro, why don't they use that?
He said peacefully.
How come every time they bring this story up, there's always new details?
Why is it never any proof? That's insane.
I don't even know why we're still talking about this.
Like, it's just like, man, like, how can we get more stuff to tie Donald Trump? Literally come with some proof.
I don't understand. I don't understand why we're still talking about this. If they fail to prosecute him, can we please stop talking about this?
Some kind of meeting between Trump or someone very close to him and members of the Proud Boys. These are the people who were behind some of the worst violence on January 6th. And so they spent months looking into that. They looked into the infamous Willard Room, where people were trying to help overturn the election results. They also looked into possible financial ties. All of that took about a year. And so when you heard from Attorney General Merrick Garland about a year later, on the anniversary of the attack, here's the words he said that gave people hope about what this investigation was about.
This is crazy.
The actions we have taken thus far will not be our last. The Justice Department remains committed to holding all January 6 perpetrators at any level accountable under law, whether they were present that day or were otherwise criminally responsible for the assault on our democracy.
So the FBI.
And when those words that the Attorney General said really gave people hope that they, at least the critics of Donald Trump, they believed that he was, in the end, going to be held accountable. Kate, what people didn't realize, of course, was that there was a calendar that was expiring and expired very rapidly, especially when Donald Trump became the inevitable nominee for the Republican Party. One critic I talked to, someone who was involved in the investigation early on, said they wasted time. They were not strategic. It was a whole year of nothing. And they said what the investigation ended up doing was boosting Trump during that primary, the Republican primary, of course.
Yeah, I can see why they had that problem because, like, say, we influence a group of people and then they gather and they decide to tweak out.
Okay,
but I ain't say he did it.
No,
though.
I know, but you can.
That's the only thing they can
pull
argue.
up a tweet, pull up a conversation, pull up a phone call on
That
Donald
told
Trump's
him-
phone.
yeah, that
They
told
can-
him to do
That's what
that.
I'm saying. They probably could easily get into his phone.
Bro,
Something.
and the FBI.
Where's the evidence?
There's evidence that the FBI was involved in
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
making this a charade.
Yeah,
and they denied, and he asked for extra agents, and they denied it.
The girl that Liz Cheney has the messages with, why isn't the security guard coming forward saying that happened? Where is anybody?
Well, I think the security guard did. That woman did come up.
She's not the security guard. She's like a witness.
What was the
You
one
think
that
you didn't see that, bro? You didn't see that.
we seen that woman to go over there and say he got aggressive and turned around
She
and said,
wasn't a
"Turn me back to
security
the
guard.
Capitol."
Okay, but is that a security guard?
Oh, well, she was in the car with him. That's what she said. That was the
I
lady
mean,
that was in
maybe
the
I
car
don't know if
with
she
him.
was or wasn't, but if she was,
That was
why
the-
can't the security guard come forward?
She was the one that was in the car.
But why isn't anybody else saying that though?
I know. I'm
Because
just saying.
when the message is her, when the judge gets to talking to a witness, that's automatically we don't know what's going on right there. So
It's
somebody
just
else has
hard
to
for
come
me
forward.
to believe Trump gonna get physical.
no, I know. I'm
So
just
that's why
saying.
it's like it's just weird.
I'm just saying it was a girl that went up there and said he got aggressive.
Yeah, we watched it multiple times.
I don't know, man. It's
It's the girl
can
with
it
the
be
brown
proof?
hair.
Yeah, and Liz was
Boosting
the
it.
judge.
Like y'all are talking about something with literally no proof.
This remains an evenly divided country, and no one,
Because of you.
no one, to paraphrase William F. Buckley, no one is held hostage to the results of the last election, other than what the Constitution tells us. And so we are still a divided nation. And yes, Donald Trump won despite January 6th, but that half the nation was okay with that, half the nation not okay with that. The debate continues in full.
Brad, is it time for Donald Trump to apologize for what took place 4 years ago?
I wouldn't expect Donald Trump would apologize. I think nor do I expect Democrats to apologize for trying to undo his presidency by all legal and extra legal means after that.
Come on, Brad. Come on.
No, Jim, look at our own polling. Look at CNN's own exit polling. Voters who said they voted on democracy were evenly split between Democrats and Republicans. January 6th was a dark day in the history of our country. Donald Trump bears a lot of responsibility for that. It's something that should stain his legacy forever. However, voters, they punished him for it. That's why he was behind Ron DeSantis by 20 points until Alvin Bragg indicted him. And once voters decided that Democrats were determined to prevent Donald Trump from being elected by any extra legal means, they decided maybe this wasn't as clear.
I mean, shouldn't your party have just rejected him, just flat out rejected him, from Kevin McCarthy to Mitch McConnell to the whole lot of them? How could your party let him be the nominee again? Isn't that the question?
Watch what Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell said in the aftermath of that. They absolutely did condemn him. Mitch McConnell was still condemning him months afterward on the floor. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi decided to use January 6th for partisan gain, though. She appointed.
That's not true,
she
Brad.
refused to let Kevin McCarthy appoint Republicans to the committee. She didn't let Republicans hire staff to the January 6th Oversight Committee. They didn't allow cross-examination.
The January 6th committee had the Republican of all Republicans, Liz Cheney, on
Liz
it.
Cheney
So
was not
booted out of your party. I mean,
she wasn't appointed by her conference like
Dick
every
Cheney's
other
daughter.
committee. She wasn't appointed by the Republican conference.
Good Republican.
Oh my God, bro! These people.
He was pissed.
CNN's getting. Oh my God, we gave him some stripes, but they're getting worse.
So did they say that Liz Cheney was a good Republican?
Yeah.
That's the weirdest
the fact that
shit I've ever heard.
she's a great Republican because she flipped sides and endorsed a Democratic candidate. Of course, they're going to give her praise. I don't understand why they were getting so mad at him for speaking facts. He said, look at the poll, look at the data, look at the facts. Like, what are you guys still hooting and hollering about? And they start getting all defensive and mad. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. All right, well,
and they're trying
can
to
you
say
prove why it's not true?
that
Like, what's the problem here?
Trump should apologize and the left shouldn't apologize. His Twitter deleted.
They got the man
Finished.
2 assassination attempts on Trump's life. They got people screaming and crying, cutting their hair off on social media. Y'all have people fully convinced that the end of the world is upon us, and
he still
y'all
got
are
voted
telling
in.
y'all like just bend the knee and say sorry. Just give us what we want. Say sorry, bro. At what point do they just move on?
Because they're trying to win the narrative.
Oh,
if he
yeah.
says sorry,
That's facts.
then it looks like he did it.
That's facts. They want to win
hey.
the narrative. I respect Trump for holding his ground. I respect him for going through the fire.
Why would he do that?
The process has come and went. He's come out unscathed, and they're still mad. They're still mad.
It's just the fact that if it was a tweet, anything, if it was a tweet said, "Hey, y'all go to the Capitol, guys," I'm pretty sure all 4 of us in here would say, "Hey, Donald Trump probably incited that." It's not none of that. If he would have said, "Go to the Capitol," he didn't say anything.
Hold on, actually, I think he might have tweeted to go to the Capitol.
No, he said peacefully protest.
But he might have said go to
He said, "Guys, key words."
He actually
We have
may
to be
have posted
peaceful.
He did tell him to go over there.
Yeah, I think he did do that.
He didn't tell him to
He
go
said,
crazy.
if y'all
like
go-
that.
He
He
didn't tell him to
peaceful.
go crazy, but he did tell them to go there. And
Peacefully.
He
He
did.
did say that. But he said he put behind with peacefully.
He
Yeah,
did.
but he did tell him to go
He
there.
did.
though.
He did.
That's why it looks bad, but definitely
but the words peaceful were
He's
meant
not
to-
an insurrectionist.
Guys, we must go home peacefully.
Yeah, he wanted it to be peaceful. The people took it too far, but the FBI agents entrapped them. But they said that's
and they let
entrapment.
him in too, so it's kind of hard.
It was
to see.
entrapment.
Y'all need to say sorry for people making people believe that he's actually Hitler. Like, you guys are weird, man.
In a political sense, is it
one-on-one
how we got here? Is interesting, and you can see the evolution. You can play all the sound bites from the days after when you heard Republicans blaming Donald Trump, some being short of saying he should be impeached, saying he should be held accountable. And 4 years later, we are here. It is a stunning political comeback attributed to how Trump played it afterward, how Democrats played it afterward, or something else.
Well, I think it's some mixture of everything. But to me, the big message is that in the United States, the people decide. And because of the disastrous 4 years that came after Donald Trump, the people decided to return Donald Trump to power. And that's fundamentally what happened. They looked at what happened on January the 6th. They looked at all the things Democrats claimed about Donald Trump. And they also analyzed every single decision that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris made. And they delivered Donald Trump a convincing victory 4 years later.
It is tough, though, Scott, because when you say the people decide, that's what people tried to make sure didn't happen on January 6th, was allowing the people to decide.
And the machinery turned. It was a terrible...
The lack of acknowledgement of how bad it was in the aftermath.
I mean, I think a great many people have acknowledged it, but also what happened that day. The machinery turned. Joe Biden became the president. He had one of the worst terms of any U.S. president, and then the people scrambled back to Donald Trump. That is the history of what happened.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I look at today, Donald Trump is inheriting one of the best economies that a president has inherited in a very long period of time. If you look at the fact that something like net migration at the border is lower than it was even before Donald Trump took office.
What?
If you want to look at the stock market, you're looking at the stock market
But two things can be true. No, but two things.
I'm not even finished running it down yet. This is the first time.
This guy's crazy.
The border needs to be secured further, and his numbers can be accurate.
But this is the first time.
What?
This is the first time.
Bro,
is
this 2-on-1? Like, is this how all Republicans? Is this how it's gonna be forever? Is the Republicans gonna just be outnumbered in the media every single time?
Why do they choose to do this? This is why the mainstream media is losing their audience.
This is crazy.
Scott be
We just
smiling.
watched
He
the
love
American
it.
people vote en masse on these two issues, just for them to turn around and say, well, these two issues are under control. What?
I could throw a rock and hit an illegal immigrant.
Oh my gosh.
I could be an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, America, the economy is so, and immigration is so under control. Like, if that was a fact, Kamala Harris would be the president of the United States. Given the fact that she was running on the strength of the economy and immigration, and she lost. What are you people talking about?
Donald Trump is inheriting one of the best economies that a president has inherited in a very long period of time. If you look at the fact that something like net migration at the border is lower than it was even before Donald Trump took office. If you want to look at the stock market, you're looking at the stock market
right now. But two things can't be true. No, but two things.
I'm not even finished running it down yet.
This is the first time. The border needs to be secured further, and this number can be accurate.
But this is the first time. This is the first time in dozens of years that a president has actually inherited a government where we don't have soldiers overseas in active combat zones. So, I mean, let's actually look at where we are. We actually, or he is actually inheriting a government right now that is much better than any predecessor he's had before.
I am, okay. I recognize that was the argument that was made during the election, and I would also like to recognize that the American people soundly rejected that argument. We do have American troops in forward locations all over the world.
Not in combat zones.
But they are in hot spots. I mean,
but not in combat zones.
We just had an American soldier die not too long ago in the Middle East.
Correct. And they're protecting our freedom every day.
Trying to fix Joe Biden's $300 million public relations pier for Gaza. I mean, the reality is migration was a disaster. Immigration was a disaster for 3.5 years. And they tried to window dress it for the last 6 months. Inflation was a disaster for all 4 years. The economy is not working for most people. That's why Democrats lost the election, and that's why they're going back to Trump.
Democrats lost the election. Nobody's arguing that. I mean, that's what the argument was 4 years ago when Donald Trump was filing lawsuits and they were raiding the White House. What we are saying, though, is that prices are going down. What I am saying is murder rates.
Going down.
They actually are going down.
Inflation is still
plateauing.
It is decreasing in rate, which is the entire goal.
But
of
are
the
prices
Federal
going
Reserve.
down or not? Just to be clear. No, they're not.
They
going
are
down
from their sky high rates.
Yeah, actually,
Stop.
No.
Let's move on. Next
we were just arguing over combat zones. I don't know where we are.
They didn't want to argue facts.
You guys are trying to paint a picture of a country that doesn't exist.
I'm not painting anything. I'm
I like
painting.
this, man.
Stop talking. That's what
Stop talking.
Wow.
You know what's crazy?
You see how he said it's plateauing, and then they, as soon as you start pulling out the facts, they didn't want to talk anymore.
You know what's crazy?
They didn't want to talk anymore.
On top of that, we really just had Joe Biden try to stop offshore drilling, and we actually have China in Mexico doing offshore drilling in Mexico.
Send that to the DM.
What type of bullshit is our country on, man?
No, this is actually crazy.
That is absolutely insane.
This right here shows the unfairness they have toward Republicans, man. 2-on-1.
It's not even just Republicans. It's just unfairness to the truth that they have. They want the narrative to be what they want it to be so bad that even given the fact that,
in a political sense,
even given the fact that come election day, the American people rejected everything they just said, they're still peddling it. What in the is it gonna take?
This is bad, bro.
What is it gonna take?
They're gonna have to
we
get
have to get these people off the air. We have to get these people off the air. I don't know if you guys saw on The View today, Sonny Hostin compared J6 to the Holocaust, slavery,
That's what we're finna do right now. That's what we're finna do right now. Yeah, guys. Yeah, this is bad. Yeah. This is
crazy.
A 2-on-1, guys. This is literally what they did to Donald Trump when they was debating. Well, I like this, though. I like this. Put Scott versus anybody. He took 2 on by himself right here, guys. Let us know what y'all think.